Okay, looks good. Hello everyone, Artemir the Violet Wizard here, and today we are continuing The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Last time, we began exploring the mountain of Snowhead, and managed to acquire the strength of the Goron warrior Darmani. So now we can freely transform into a Goron anytime we want. And with help from the local Gorons, we were able to unlock the means of being able to access the next temple that we're going to be visiting here on our journey. The second temple. So yeah, I'm definitely expecting there to be a lot we're going to be doing here in this session. But before we head off into the next temple, there's a couple things I wanted to do in order to prepare ourselves for the trip ahead. Namely, I wanted to come back and visit this guy who I forgot to talk to at the end of the last session. So this merchant will of course be selling us a upgrade to our bomb bag if we talk to him as a Goron for 200 rupees. So this is going to be the second and the last upgrade to the bomb bag we can get. You can get the first bomb bag upgrade by saving the lady who owns the bomb shop back in Clocktown. And by spending our money here, you got the biggest bomb bag. Now you can hold up to 40 bombs. Thanks again. And that's pretty much everything we need to worry about with that guy for the time being. But trust me when I say that we will be visiting him in the future in order to get that land title deed from him. Alright, now the next thing I want to do is actually want to fly back to town so we can grab some more rupees. So in between sessions, I did a little bit of grinding in order to accumulate enough rupees for some of the stuff I wanted to do in this session. Namely, I went and I shot down Takori, which is really good because he drops a gold rupee, which gives you 200 rupees really easily. That's such a great way in order to accumulate money when you are out and about on this journey. Yeah, the next thing we're gonna do is head on over to the bank, and we're gonna make a short withdrawal of about 100 rupees. What's this? You need something? Let me take a look at you. Oh, you're a lot bigger since the last time you came here. Alright, how much do you want? So I want to take about 95 out so that we can have an even 100. Use it wisely. Alright, now that we got that taken care of, we want to head back up to the mountain. Oh man, this next thing I'm preparing, it's gonna make the run of the temple we're gonna do very interesting, as we are gonna see going forward. So imagine that guy surprised just seeing a Goron just zip up into the air. Like, that must be quite surprising to see, just this big rock guy suddenly flying. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is I want to go grab some hot spring water. So while I was doing prep for this stream today, I made sure to open up the path to the hidden hot spring over here just outside of the Goron village. And while we're in here, I didn't quite get to actually show off what we can do with the boulders over here, because you know there's got to be something hiding in here, so let's go break them apart and see what we can find. So I don't believe there's anything hidden in here that you need the lens of truth to be able to see. I just want to break these boulders and see what we can find. Wow, there really is very little in here, huh? Oh, there we go. There's a big chest. And in here, 20 rupees. Okay, that was kind of worth it. It's a good way to show off all the bombs we got from our most recent upgrade. But, yep, like I said before, we want to grab some hot spring water, as our next destination is going to be the blacksmith shop over at the mountain village. I really don't know why that part of the map is called Mountain Village, since there's only one building over there. It's not quite a village, if you ask me. We want to take the hot spring water over here, as we learned from last time that the hearth that they used for doing their blacksmith work was frozen over. So you just want to head over here, just right up to the big thing, and let's drop our hot spring water down. Ugo! 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 Go! Go! Gabora! Huh? Oh, you've done me a great favor. Now then, this hearth can finally go to work for me. Thanks. So now that the hearth has been defrosted, we can finally get some work done with the blacksmiths. Gabora, fetch your customer some coffee, quick-like. Now then, let me take a look at your sword. Alright. To reforge your sword, it will cost you 100 rupees. It'll be ready at sunrise. You'll have to let us hold on to your sword until then. Keep in mind that after you use your reforged sword 100 times, it will lose its edge and it'll be back to its original sharpness. So, would you like your sword reforged for 100 rupees? I'll do it. Thanks for dropping in. Now then, I'm straight off to work. Come back tomorrow morning. So now that we've left our sword with Zubora and Gabora, we no longer have access to our sword. Notice how I'm completely incapable of swinging it. Yep, it's been completely removed from our inventory, and we're not going to get it back until the morning of the next day in this cycle. Now, we could play the song of double time in order to move time forward so that we can access the next thing we need to do. But I feel it would be interesting if we could spend the first day of this cycle doing things in the temple, and then we can go grab our sword when it naturally transitions into the second day. Doesn't that sound exciting? It's actually kind of a thing that I like to do whenever I'm running this game nowadays, just because it's super convenient to try and take care of these different tasks at the same time. Showing some very good Dandori here, for anyone who's familiar with that term. Oh man, I just loved hearing about that term when Pikmin 4 came out and being like, oh, so that's what that means. Just trying to take care of tasks in as quickly and as efficiently as possible. It's a very good term that I use every now and then. Just very fun. But now that we've gotten our preparations done, it's finally time to head into Snowhead Temple. Now, whenever you try to get through this area normally, there's this big blizzard that pushes you back. What's that? Something in the middle of that blizzard. Can't you see it? Ooh, a fairy. So I actually want to grab you in a bottle. Be very nice to have a fairy before going into this area. Could also recommend grabbing a green potion before coming in here. Oh man, that's an interesting frame for the game to be at. Alright, there we go. If we put on the lens of truth, we can see the blizzards actually being caused by a giant Goron that's sitting in front of the temple. And luckily, we managed to acquire a song that has the ability to put Gorons to sleep. So we're just gonna play the Goron Lullaby. Of course, you have to be in Goron form in order for this to work. You just have to specifically play bongos to get the song working. Oh, that sound is so... Oh, I'm just gonna rest my eyes for a moment. Oh, jeez. I hope that guy's okay. But yeah, with that, we have managed to finally deal with what was blocking the way to Snowhead. So yeah, that giant Goron is basically the entire reason that Darmani died, since it was the blizzard being caused by the giant Goron that caused him to fall and be killed in the first place. We also got some White Wolfos guarding the path over here, but we're just going to ignore those guys and just head right on up to the temple. So also got some big snowballs to worry about as we're up here, but just knock them aside with your big Goron fists and you should be good. It's also kind of funny, the minimap actually shows where the snowballs are placed, which is a neat little detail. After climbing all the way up this icy bridge here. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So lucky I didn't fall off there. That would have been super embarrassing. But we have finally entered Snowhead Temple. We are going to be here a while. Oh, we got a lot of white bows here. It's kind of big. It's going to take more than average strength to move this thing. So we just beat aside these white bows, get them out of our way. It's got giant blocks that can only be pushed using Goron's strength. But yeah, this area is going to be very interesting for us to explore. So, Woodfall Temple, it was pretty alright as far as dungeons go. It was pretty small, but a good first test for our abilities here in the land of Termina. Snowhead Temple, on the other hand, is where things really start to amp up in terms of overall difficulty and stuff. At slippery places like this, you can curl up as a Goron and roll your way across. Why don't you try it? I would like to, but there is something else I want to do before then, and I want to equip the bow for this. So I actually want to head down here, so we can show that as a Goron, we're completely immune to lava. So that's a very nice little detail. And you may notice that there is a stray fairy in a bubble over there. But about that. So this pillar is... Okay, the layering is a bit awkward here, but there's this stone pillar here that's blocking access to the stray fairy, unless you're looking at it at a certain angle, at which point it shows that one of the crevices is actually genuine. So we just want to snipe you with our bow, and then we can snatch you up with our Great Fairy's mask. So much like Woodfall Temple, we're going to want to grab all the stray fairies we can find inside this area. There is a lot to do in here. We got at least 15 stray fairies to grab. We got ourselves quite a few floors of this place to explore, and then we got ourselves the big fight at the end. So yeah, we're going to be in this place for quite a while. It's a good thing this ladder is structurally sound enough to hold my weight. But yeah, as you can obviously tell, we're going to be making great use out of Darmani's abilities in this area. Much like how things were when we were using the Deku form in Woodfall, this area is pretty much specifically designed for the Goron in mind, and it works pretty well. Ooh, we can see another stray fairy over there. Why did I not grab you earlier? Nah, it doesn't matter. Just want to make sure we're at a good angle so that we can shoot you from below the platform. There we go. And with that, that should be all the stray fairies we need in this room. Now, there's some other things we can do with those enemies over there, but I'm going to save that for a bit later. So we're not going to be able to do everything there. And I want to head in here so we can do something in this room. So they just knock aside that choo-choo. Then want to... Well, it's a bomb chew, actually. Just break open that crate to get ourselves a lot of money. And we got ourselves a chest we can open. Giving us the dungeon map. before we go farther, I want to highlight if we go into our map. Yeah, this area is really, really tall. The main gimmick of this area is that's going to be quite a climb in order to get to where we need to go. And there's a lot of things that we need to hunt for in this area as well. So, yeah, we're going to be in this temple for quite a while. So that's everything we can do in this room for the time being, so let us press onward. So back in here, we're going to want to avoid those icy guys, and we're going to head into this room. So this takes us into the center room of this entire dungeon. So there's going to be a lot we're going to need to do here. We got this massive pillar in the center here, serves this big platform. And there's going to be quite a few different paths we're going to take here. You can see that most of the doors are blocked off by ice. There's not much we can do about those for the time being. But I want to head down these stairs. This should take us to the bottom level of this area. I recommend being Goron form in this area. It's got some new enemies. These are red bubbles. They are giant skulls that are on fire. Like, if you just strike them with your Goron fists, you should be good. Or you could shoot them with an arrow. So now what's going to make this area pretty interesting, because we gave our sword to the blacksmiths, we're not going to be able to use it to damage enemies in this area. Oh, that's a lot of these guys. So I forget if we really need to kill these guys to activate anything here. I mean, we just bash aside them when they come close to us, but I don't think they're necessary for any of the puzzles in this area. You see, there's this big button over here. Not much we can do with this for the time being. But it's good to keep in mind for later. There's another stray fairy if you need to grab that. Well, not a stray fairy, but it's a fairy. And wanna way down this switch in the middle of the lava to activate that chest. So you can probably guess what's gonna be in here. If we open you up, I gets herself another stray fairy. Very nice. Alright, if we head into this door here, yeah, we have a Deku flower that's covered in ice. So we're not going to be able to do anything with that for the time being. But we'll want to remember that for later, because this room is going to be imperative for something we're going to be doing eventually. Also, just want to quickly check with our mask. Yeah, there is indeed a fairy we can get here, but we're probably going to wait a little while for that one. So, just trying to remember, like, all of the different steps we need to take in this area, because Snowhead is a very big dungeon, and we're going to be here a while. Alright, so crossing this pillar, so there's quite a few paths we can take here. So we got this door over here with the yellow frame. And we can see here that there are some blocks that we can pull. So I'm going to start by moving those just out of the way. And you may notice on the ground there's a specific spot where you're able to push and pull the blocks to. So you definitely want to keep that in mind as we're going through here. We can open up this chest and get ourselves our first small key. So that's going to be very important for later. But before we move on, what I recommend is moving these blocks over this way. So this is going to be pretty useful to us for later on in the dungeon when we're taking care of other things. Since we are going to be grabbing every single stray fairy in this area. Alright, we move those blocks there, and that causes that chest to spawn. Sadly, we're not able to reach it from this level, so we're gonna have to come back later for that. But now that we've taken care of this, and managed to get our key, it's about time that we start making some more progress in this area. So then what we want to do here is we can take our arrows and shoot it through the... So we should be able to do this. Shoot it through the brazier and hit the ice with it, thus melting it with the fire arrows. Very good. Alright, I've got this guy here. Yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of Wolfos in this area. There's some of the more common enemies in this area, so you definitely want to keep that in mind. Luckily, Goron form is really good for taking these guys out. So we use our key to open up this door, and look at this, we got ourselves some more enemies to deal with. Yep, just a lot of Wolfos we got to take care of here. And we can see there's some other stuff in this room that is going to be important to us. We can see a lot of ice over here. But sadly, no way for us to be able to melt it for the time being. And by opening up this chest here, we get ourselves the compass, which is going to be really good for showing us where we can get all of the different treasures in this area. It's very useful if you want to hunt down all the stray fairies, as well as locate all of the different things we're going to be needing here. Speaking of which, I know for a fact that there's a stray fairy we can get in this room. And it's a little bit awkward to get this one, so bear with me for a moment. So you need to take our bombs and throw them just before they explode, as we want to try and blow up that crate on this pillar. Ow, come on. We can do this. There we go. By blowing up that crate, that releases a stray fairy. Hello, could you get over here? Alright, stray fairy number 4. We can see that there is another fairy in this room, but we're not going to worry about that for the time being. Just want to blow up that wall with a bomb, allowing us to go forward. Okay, this room. So we got ourselves some more ice to deal with here. Be careful. As you can, if you look up, we see there's a lot of large icicles in this area. So this room, you can also see that there are these large blocks of ice on these platforms. So yep, what you want to do here is use your bow to knock down the icicles in order to press onward. This kind of reminds me of this one puzzle in Final Fantasy VII, in that one ice cave where you have to knock down icicles in order to get the path forward. But that mission was always kind of awkward because you have to knock down the icicles while you're in the middle of a battle, which is like kind of weird. Certainly one of the more unusual encounters back in the original Final Fantasy VII, which I have previously played over on Twitch. I just haven't had the opportunity to re-upload those VODs over to my YouTube channel. But you may have noticed there that there was a hidden passageway through that wall. Yeah, the little bit of ice there is a little giveaway that you can actually access that, but it's nothing we need to worry about for the time being. I'm just able to enter that to grab a stray fairy, and that's pretty much it for that. And it's pretty much it for this room. There's nothing else we need here. So of course we're going to want to smash this, opening up a chest, giving us yet another key. Alright, so that's definitely very helpful to us. Then we got one more rupee we can grab there, and then we can move on. Okay, this room. This room used to give me so much trouble as a kid. Alright, we can see some bows dropping down. So these guys we specifically need to be Goron form to deal with, since we currently don't have our sword. So if we put on our Great Fairy Mask, we can see that there is indeed a stray fairy in this room. Huh, I wonder where it could be. So for this area, we want to take out our Lens of Truth, and we can see that the ceiling is actually that concave space where the stray fairy is hiding. So yeah, definitely pretty clever. They get pretty crafty with the stray fairy locations in this area. It definitely makes Snowhead one of the more intricate areas to explore, because you have to be really thorough and use the Lens of Truth in a lot of different spaces. Okay, talk to Tattle on this switch. What, you think you can push down something this big just by standing on top of it? You have to find some way to pound it down. Alright, so for this, we need to use our Belly Slam. So that will raise that pillar up, and that pillar. And we're actually on a bit of a timer here, so we need to hop across here. Then we need to go on to this switch. Oh, I think this is the one that's on the timer, actually. Yeah, we hit that one down, so that point brings that platform up. So need to get back onto... Okay, I completely messed this up. I forgot the actual area you're supposed to go to for this. Oh, I'm so stupid. Alright, we're just gonna wait for that one to relower. Yeah, because this part is a little confusing. Alright, so what I want to do, push down this switch. Then we need to go over here, bring this pillar down, thus exposing the entrance over here. Hop out of Goron form, climb up here, and then we can jump up there. There we go. So that should be everything we need to do in this room. Yeah, that'll just move that platform back up, but we no longer need to worry about that. So now, we can go over here. Now this room you want to be careful in. So you want to roll as a Goron and just launch yourself off that ramp, getting over here. And... Alright, so this next part, we need to roll across that space there to get over here. Alright, we could head over there, but I don't think we need to at the moment. So let us head through... if we can just do that. Let's head into this area. Oh, okay. Yeah, we can't do this room just yet. So actually gonna want to head across here. We just line ourselves up. Yeah, taking advantage of the icy floors is pretty useful here. Just want to roll across, and we should be good. Let's go back into our Hylian form, as in this room, we got ourselves a mid-boss. This is a Wizrobe, a classic Zelda enemy, though this one has a very distinct design compared to some of the ones we've seen before. It's a Wizrobe. You'll get your chance right when it starts to attack. Be on the lookout for it. So this guy will teleport around. You're able to know where he is just because of the platforms he appears in across the room. Just want to draw your bow and shoot him whenever he appears. Don't give him the chance to attack, because he'll shoot a blast of magic out at you, which can really lay on the hurt. Alright, by this point, he is going to create duplicates of himself. Ow! Yeah, I just want to look around and try and figure out which one is the real Wizrobe, and you should be good. Easiest way to figure out which is the right Wizrobe is that the real one will be opaque, whereas the other ones will be transparent. So use that to your advantage. But yep, just pop him with a couple arrows, and the Wizrobe goes down. and right before dusk begins to fall too. And by taking him out, you got the fire arrow. Set it to C to power up your arrows. Things will heat up when they hit. So yeah, this is a very, very nice upgrade to our bow. Now being able to use fire arrows. I kind of like this progression of our items in this game. How you get the bow by clearing the first dungeon, and then the second dungeon gives you an upgrade to your arrows. That's just a very cool decision that they go with the dungeon items in this game. I quite like it. But yeah, fire arrows are going to be really useful to us here. So the fire arrows were kind of just more of an accessory than an actually a necessary tool throughout most of Ocarina. But in this game, they definitely make good use out of the fire arrows here. So they're able to use them in order to melt ice, which is also effective with dealing with some of the enemies in this area. Oh, I completely didn't register that there was a stray fairy there. Alright, so we're able to grab that one. And I want to quickly equip our Lens of Truth here, because we also have some platforms over here that leads us to... You can probably guess what's going to lead us to. But yeah, this part can be a little tricky just because of how small the platforms are. But as long as you're careful, you should be able to get it. Alright, so now that we've managed to trigger that switch over there, that gives us a elevator that we can use in order to get back into this room anytime we want from the lower levels. So that's going to be quite useful for accessing other areas of this dungeon. However, I want to head back to the lower levels because there is stuff that we can do now that we have the fire arrows. Namely, we can use them to beat these icy enemies. So these enemies are called freezers. They are quite the annoying little pests here. They will breathe out these blasts of cold air that can freeze you in place and can be quite a nuisance. But you can instantly take them out if you have fire arrows. Otherwise, just a few slashes from the sword or punches with the Goron fists will be able to take them out. But after we kill all the freezers in this room, we can now access this chest, granting us a small key. Very good indeed. So what I would recommend, since we're going to be using the fire arrows and they do cost magic, I would recommend having a green potion on standby in one of your bottles, because that can be really useful. Or you can always grab the green bottles that you can find all throughout this area. Thinking about what we're going to need to do next. Oh yeah, we'll be able to do this now. So now that we have our arrows, we can use them to access these doors over here with the green borders that we couldn't access before, which is going to be pretty important for accessing this more of this area. Yeah, I think we should be good to do this now. It's going to be quite the important thing we're going to be doing in this area if we're going to access the higher levels. Just want to take out these freezers that are in this room, so they'll have plenty of space to do what we need to. Just blast them all apart, and that causes a chest to spawn. So you probably guess what's going to be in there. Let's just head on over and grab our prize. What's inside here is yet another stray fairy. Very good. Let's grab that. And the next thing we want to do, we wanted to light these torches that are in this room. It's pretty simple to do. Simply shoot at them with our fire arrows, and they will ignite. And doing that will cause the bars to raise on that door, allowing us to press forward. Woo! And we can see there's no more stray fairies in this room, so we managed to clear that out. Alright, so this part is going to be quite interesting. This is really going to shake up how we're going to progress through this area. So now we want to take our Goron form and just pound down on that switch. And that will cause the big pillar in the center of the room to shoot up. This is going to be necessary if we're going to access everything we can in this area. So trust me when I say that's important to do. Now, of course, there are some reasons why you wouldn't want to cause the pillar to be raised to be able to access certain sections, like the room where we counted the Wizrobe in, but we don't really need to go back into that area. So, next thing we need to do is we're gonna head back into that one room we encountered before. It's gonna completely ignore this guy, because you're not necessary. And we want to be in this room. So we can just melt the ice over here. Can you back off, sir? There you go. So now that we have access to the fire arrows, we can now do things in this room that we couldn't before, which is going to be quite useful to us here. There's also this switch over there we can access by melting that ice. Excuse me. I'm gonna pet the puppy with my fist! And after doing that, we can weigh down this switch, causing yet another chest to appear. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is we're going to be taking this block here, and then we can slide it across the ground in order to move it to different areas. Going to be quite useful to us in accessing everything we need to in this section of the dungeon. It also reminds me a bit of some of the ice puzzles back in the Pokemon games I used to play when I was younger. We can grab our 10th stray fairy by hitting that one. Yep, even as a Hylian, we can still push this thing. Just move you over there, and then should be able to move you this way. And then we can go up here. But just want to make sure we cleared up everything we need to here. Yep. Then we can head into this room, bringing us back into this area that we have managed to grab the first key of the dungeon. Then we can just... Ow! Stupid flying pots. What is this, the face shrine? So now we can hop across the blocks that we moved in order to access the chest over there containing yet another stray fairy. Very good. And with that, that should be everything we need in these areas. So now, we want to head back over to that room we were in before with the room with the rising pillar puzzle. So now we can completely circumvent the puzzle, now that we have the fire arrows, just melting the ice so that we can go through here. And this puts us back over here where there used to be space for us to progress forward here, but now there's just this big pillar in the way. So what we want to do is want to go over here and punch! So we're able to knock out sections of the pillar to lower it, which is going to be quite useful to us throughout the rest of this area. Also be a good idea just to look around a little bit, get a good read on some of the areas around the upper levels, because there's a certain place that we want to keep in mind as we're in this area. So probably gonna have to wait till later for it, actually. Alright, but now that we've taken care of that, I am fairly certain that we can just head down to the lower levels now. So we can hop down here, accessing these pretty elusive pods. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, just a few rupees, nothing really major to grab in them. So now what we want to do is head back into the blue room, which we can... Ow! Man, just swan diving into a pit of lava. Not something I would recommend. Alright. So now I want to head back for the blue door, bringing us back in here. Let's grab another magic pot before we go forward. Really? There isn't one there? Huh. Okay. So I want to head back up the stairs, because we want to head back into the room where we encountered... Well, want to head back into the center chamber from this spot. Is there any magic that we can grab here? No? Okay. Alright, so now... So want to... once again hit this ice switch so that we can raise the elevator and get up here. Very good. Can we grab those arrows that I saw drop here before they despawn? There we go. Alright, so now we're able to access this section of the map that we had previously seen before. Oh, I actually didn't know you can pick up the snowballs as a kid. I usually just slash at them with my sword or just punch them. So then we can move over. That's embarrassing. Just sometimes you can slip around in the Goron form, and that can be a little annoying. So just bear with me as we work our way back up. Guess I could take this opportunity to talk about some things that have been going on. So I've been having a pretty good break from work at the moment. So I just had lunch before I started off this stream session. It's pretty good. Got myself some chicken parm over at Krabby's. It was quite nice. Definitely one of my favorite things to grab from there. And yeah, I've just been mostly chilling. Alright, we actually don't need a roll over here, because we can just access this spot and then take the ladder up. Alright, we got those sections of the pillar blasted, so there's nothing more we need to do over there. So now we can take our fire arrows, and we can melt that thing. And then we can move ourselves up over here. So we got yet another section of the pillar that we can break. Just smash you apart. Like I said before, this is necessary if you want to do everything in this area. I also want to look around. Yeah, I got a good idea on what we need to do here. We can bring our thing up. Yep, you can see that there is that small space over there that's just barely visible. This part can be a bit tricky. I believe I can do this with the bunny hood. The safest way, I think, to do this is to use the Deku form if you're riding a leaf, but we should be able to handle this here. So I want to take a running start, jump down. Woo! That's very nice. So like that, we were able to enter this little space here, and we were able to grab that stray fairy. That is definitely one of the trickier fairies to get in this dungeon, because if you don't really notice it, it can be really bad. Alright, but now that we've taken care of that, we can just flutter on over here with our Deku form, and then move on up to the upper levels. Very good. Now that we've taken care of that, Alright, so this part we actually do need to be careful in our Goron form. Just want to roll across here now. Be very careful. And then we want to hit that section. Now that's taken care of, we can head into this door. Alright, this was an area I thought that we would get to eventually. We got some Enos over here to deal with. Just want to smash these guys apart. Use your shield whenever you can, whenever they begin to throw their snowballs at you, and you should be good. Actually funny, I almost never use the Goron's shield ability, but it is quite useful. Just being able to block hits like that. Alright, is there anything we can find in these snowballs? Because I could always use some extra magic or arrows. As you can probably tell over here, there is something that we can see. Yep. Got ourselves yet another stray fairy to grab. So let's take off our Goron face. Kind of funny to say every now and then. Let's shoot you. So we can grab yet another stray fairy. Ow! Come on. It's annoying. Now that we've taken care of that, we should have everything taken care of in this room. So let's bring our... Put on our fire arrows again to shoot that block of ice, opening the way forward. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's nothing else we need to worry about here, just the one stray fairy. Yep. So we should be good to continue. Let's just head up the stairs here. And we got ourselves some familiar faces. Let's go back into our Goron form. So we got Donalfos once again. So these guys, wow, their fire breath even affects the Goron when you're shielding. That is pretty nasty. So these guys can be a bit of a pain. Especially because I don't have my sword with me. You just back off, mister. Yeah, just back off when they do their fire attacks, guard their swords, and then punch, and you should be able to handle them. They go down pretty quickly if you manage to beat them as a Goron, which is very nice. And by beating those two Donalfos, we've actually managed to grab all the stray fairies. Very good indeed. Okay, I'm trying to remember this section here, because we got... Yeah, we managed to break the pillar, so I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to just do this now. So now we can jump down here, go on top of the pillar that we spent all that time breaking. And then we want to head this way, past all of these snowballs. Can we please break through, Link? There we go. So after handling that, we can go up these stairs. And this brings us up onto this platform. So you can see there's a few different things we can access. Namely, there's one path forward we need to take. Before we do that, let's just go across here. And we have the boss door right in front of us, but sadly, we don't have the boss key yet. So we're going to need to take a little detour before we can manage to grab it. And for that, we're going to need to head back into our Deku form. So now we want to head this way. Over to this platform that we couldn't access before due to the gap in the floor. And we got ourselves a rematch with Wizrobe. This guy just will not go down, will he? Luckily, at this point, we got ourselves an even stronger weapon than we did before. So the fire arrows do more damage to enemies than regular arrows, which can be quite nice for being able to take on enemies such as the Wizrobe. Alright, this part is going to be quite tricky. He's going to be appearing all over the place. Alright, there he is. One more hit should take him out. It's got to be... figure out where he's going to be, and... whoops. There he is. Oh, come on. How did that not hit him? There he is. There we go. Right in the crotch. Burn, baby. So now we've taken care of the Wizrobe. We can go grab these pots over here, see if there's anything good in them. Let's actually turn into Deku to break these, since breaking them apart one at a time can be a bit annoying. I was hoping there would be magic in there, but we don't really need to worry about magic at this point. We're almost done with this area. So now that we've managed to deal with Wizrobe again, inside the big ornate chest here, you got the boss key. Now you can enter the chamber where the boss lurks. It's pretty fitting that we managed to grab that now that it is midnight of the first day. Alright, we got ourselves another magic pot there. Gonna be quite good for us. Can we break? Yeah, we can break those as the Deku. Huh, quite nice. So now we dealt with that. There's only one last thing for us to take care of in this dungeon, and that is the big boss. At this point, main thing I could recommend before going into this fight is making sure that you have some form of healing in your bottle, whether it be a fairy or a potion, because you don't really need to worry about arrows or magic for this next area. But now that we've managed to acquire the big key, it's time to take on the boss. Oh good, somebody already imprisoned it, so we don't have to worry about taking him out. No, if we're gonna get rid of the blizzard threatening the Gorons on Snowhead, we actually have to kill the monster. So, let's defrost it. Mass mechanical monster, goat. So we got ourselves a giant robot bull to deal with. Quite the unusual face to see here in a Zelda game. But yeah, this boss, oh man, this is one of my favorite bosses in all of Zelda. This guy will be running around this arena, and you just want to strike him as the Goron. Just chase after him in your ball form, just ram into him in order to try and knock him down. Goat will be employing a lot of different tactics in this fight. He can kick up boulders with his hooves. He can shoot energy blasts from his horns. As the fight goes on, he will employ other different attacks to try and impede you. And yeah, you don't want him to get too ahead of you, because then he'll stop in order to strike you with electricity. He can also cause stalactites to fall from the ceiling. But just chase after this guy, stay on his tail, and you should be good. This is such an adrenaline-pumping fight. I really love the execution of it. Just such a cool concept, chasing this thing down in your Goron form. It's amazing. Just such an incredible boss fight. Alright, managed to do quite a bit of damage to him. So once you've got him down by quite a bit, he's going to start lobbing bombs from his back. I like to imagine he's just popping them out his butt. Alright, we got him down pretty good. Just a few more hits should take him out. There we go! God, what an incredible fight. Just the concept of it alone is just really creative, makes really good use of the Goron form's abilities. Such an amazing battle, easily one of my favorites in the entire Zelda series. And by taking out Goat, we managed to acquire another heart container, now giving us a max total of 10 hearts. And we can acquire Goat's remains. Just free the innocent spirit this dark mask had kept imprisoned within the body of evil Goat. What exactly are all of you? Guardians. Guardians? So, you're protective gods. That's why you're in the temples. But why are the protective gods? No. Wait, are you listening to me? Hey, wait! Thanks to our efforts, the frigid winter that had plagued Snowhead is no more. Destroying Goat was all we needed to restore peace to the mountain. So before we go any farther, I want to quickly head back up to the temple for something that is pretty important. After all we did is spend a good chunk of that dungeon chasing after a bunch of fairy pieces. So it's a good idea to head back up in order to deliver these where we need to do. And while we're up here, look who it is. What in the world have I been doing this whole time? Why am I sitting in a place like this? He must have been under Goat's spell or something because he completely is unaware of what he was doing around this area. The implications here that Goat had enough power not only to freeze the entirety of the mountain, but even to mind control one of the Gorons to serve as a guardian of the temple. And since we have also dealt with the winter here, the white Wolfos have now been turned into regular Wolfos. And we can see that some of the ice here has started to drip. That's kind of a nice little detail. So over here in the back of the temple, we can find the Great Fairy's Fountain. Let's go deliver them to their rightful owner. Oh, wise young one, I am the Great Fairy of Wisdom. Thank you for returning my broken and shattered body to normal.
As thanks, I shall enhance your magic power.
Oh, I feel powerful!
Your magic power's been enhanced. You now have twice as much magic power. So yeah, this is why I highly recommend grabbing all the stray fairies in Snowhead Temple. Double magic is going to be really useful to us as we go further on this journey. It is incredibly useful. So now we taking care of that, just give me a second to take care of something here. Okay, that should be good. Oh boy. We managed to do quite a lot in this session. Believe it or not, we still have a little bit that we can do here on the mountain before we are finally done with this. After all, we got a sword to grab. But there's also some other things that we are going to do around the mountain. So for that, we're going to want to return to the Goron village. So let's head over to the mountain village. And then we will head on over and see how the Gorons are doing now that we have managed to destroy Goat. Also, while we're in this area, you may notice a certain creature is croaking over here. You can see that there is a frog here. Would you know it, while we were in this area, we managed to acquire a mask in the likeness of a frog. I've been waiting for you, Don Giro. Forgive me if I'm mistaken, but it looks like you've lost a little weight. As you can see, Don Giro, the long winter has ended, and spring has finally come to these mountains. Let us begin our chorus. Unfortunately, it seems not all of our members have gathered. Perhaps it's because winter was too long? They must not have realized that spring has come to the mountains. And when the great Don Giro has come for us too, what a pity! Where in the world could the other members be? And what could they be doing? So, beating Goat here unlocks yet another quest that we're going to want to remember for the future. We got ourselves this frog here who wants to perform a song. However, we are missing quite a few other frogs in order to be able to conclude this performance. In total, we need to explore Termina and find 4 frogs in order to bring them here to the mountain to complete this quest. Sadly, we're not going to be able to do this quest until a little bit later, so we're going to hold off on doing that for the time being. I can see these boulders over here beneath the blacksmith shop. How about we see if there's anything under here? Really? So bombs couldn't break those. What about a Goron's fists? Surely this is strong enough. Yeah. So bombs don't work, but the Goron form does, apparently. Kind of weird. So we can grab a red rupee under there. It's alright, not really that useful to us. So a neat little thing that we can see in this area is that now that the ice has defrosted, we are now able to take this little path here along the side of the area. Whoa, that is a lot of bows. Get out of here! We got black bows, white bows, here and there, bow. Just move past these guys and... Oh, look! There's one of these guys here. Why don't we see what you have to say, buddy? The frogs, they're supposed to gather in the mountains when spring arrives or elsewhere. You need Don Giro's mask to bring them together. The frogs in Clock Town, the Swamp, Woodfall Temple, and Great Bay Temple make 4. So that guy will give you the hint as to where to find the frogs in order to bring them together to the mountain. Just gonna have to wait on that for a while. And also see that there is a hole over here. It's actually a secret that I don't really get on most of my playthroughs. There's probably something nice in here, right? We can grab a red rupee. So we're already almost maxed out our wallet again. Not too bad considering all that we have been doing in this session. That's certainly going to be useful. But, yeah, this path takes us all the way back up to Darmani's grave. It's a nice, easy way to go and get some more hot spring water, if you want that. Let's dive on down, and it's time that we finally head back to the village so that we can finally talk to the Gorons and see what has changed in this area now that we have freed the mountain from Goat's control. So we can see a lot has changed in this area now that there is not a lot of snow in this area, and all of the ice that's been over here has now melted away. So now we got this big lake in this area. So this will be... This area has a couple things hidden that we're going to want to remember for later. There's not a whole lot we're going to be able to do around this spot until later in the adventure after we've acquired yet another power. But we're just going to ignore that for the time being and head back to Goron Village. And how about we pop in with the Gorons and see just what has changed since last time. Hello, anybody home? Some fellows here.
Darmani! The Goron Elder's waiting impatiently for you! Oh, Darmani! I have been waiting impatiently for you! Like that guy was saying earlier. I have been waiting for your arrival ever since I heard the news! I had heard that you, the one whom I once fought to be dead, had sealed off the blizzard that was blowing in from Snowhead. Thanks to you, spring has come to Goron Village. Everyone is pleased. The greatest Goron hero of all? That's Darmani! The immortal Goron who's not dead, even if he has died? That's Darmani! The star whom we wish upon? That's Darmani! Darmani, greatest of Gorons! Greatest of Gorons! Darmani is the greatest in the world! Greatest in the world! My son got better immediately! He went to see the Goron races that celebrate spring. This time, I, the protector of this tribe for so many years, choose to yield the seat of tribal patriarch to a younger one. The Goron who makes calm decisions, yet boasts courageous determination, and can take care of all shall be the patriarch. The chosen one, Darmani, is you! There could be no other! What do you think? If it's you, everyone would happily accept you as the patriarch. What? You need not answer so quickly. Go, enter the Goron race. Think it over slowly. I am awaiting a thoughtful response.
Thanks to our efforts, we not only were able to save the Gorons, but we were even able to help Darmani's reputation. No longer will he be seen as a failed hero who couldn't save his people from disaster. We were able to leave him a legacy that he could be proud of, where his brothers will remember him fondly as the hero he was always meant to be. It's just such a pleasant ending to this storyline. God. It's just really awesome to have this storyline of getting to help this great hero managing to fulfill what he failed to accomplish, and we were able to save his reputation. And after everything that Link has been through in his previous adventures, saving the Gorons here, it's just another Tuesday for him. He has helped out the Gorons so many times in the past, and this was definitely one of the more interesting trips in his adventure. But now that we dealt with the... Now that we have managed to free this area from Goat's Blizzard, we can now access the Goron Powder Keg shop. So this area is going to be very important to do before we close out this session, as this area will unlock a very, very important thing for us to do if we want to make progress in the story for next time. So you can see there's this large Goron at the back of this cavern. He actually used the same model as Goron back in Ocarina. Let's talk to him.
I'm the Goron who sells the powder keg, the most famous product of the Gorons. Want a powder keg? Powder kegs explode with powerful blasts and are very dangerous. Until I've tested you to see if you can use them properly, I can't let you use any on your own. Will you give it a try? Sure. If you can destroy the boulder that blocks the entrance to the Goron racetrack near here, using the powder keg I'm about to give you, then I'll approve you to carry them. When the powder keg begins ticking faster, it means that it's about to explode. Try to blow up the boulder blocking the Goron racetrack entrance without the powder keg exploding on the way. There's a sign near the racetrack, so keep an eye out for it. When you're finished, come see me.
So now we got ourselves a little bit of a side quest here. We needed to bring this large powder keg over to the Goron racetrack that we've been hearing about. So this thing is, of course, on a time limit. That fuse will not last forever. We need to carry this thing as swiftly as we can over to the racetrack. Otherwise, it will explode, and then we're going to have to go all the way back to the keg shop in order to get a new one. So yeah, this mission can be quite tense the first time you're doing this. But as long as you are pretty consistent and you just don't slow down for anything, you should get this mission done pretty easily. Got ourselves a couple enemies we gotta worry about here. Also be careful not to get the powder keg itself to get hit by anything, because a single tap could make it explode, so you gotta be really careful. We of course have Tektites and Wolfos to worry about in this area, but we should be good. And of course, you can't carry the keg up ramps, so you gotta toss it up to be able to get it where you need to go. But just like that, we're able to move it pretty close to the end here very quickly. Very nice. Now I just need to place this guy in front of this boulder, and we're good. Hey, kid.
Ah, Darmani! Now that's nice and warm out, it's much, much better. Even if my daddy isn't right beside me, I will be selfish and cry. So now that spring has come, the Goron races should be starting soon. But this rock is in the way, so I can't get in to see the race. And spring's just started, too. I was so excited, but there's nothing I can do. I hate it! I want to see it! I want to see it! I want to see the race!
Calm down, kid. I already got the bomb we need. Oh, by the way, you might want to stay back. This thing could explode. So yep, now that we deliver the powder keg, we just need to wait for it to go boom. Should take a little bit, but we're almost done here. There we go.
Way to go, Darmy! That was cool! Come on, if we don't hurry, the race will start! Come on, hurry!
Also, hello, Master Starman. Welcome to the stream. You missed us beating up a giant robot bull. So yeah, now that we've managed to blow up the entrance to the Goron racetrack, we're actually not going to go in there right now. So I want to make sure that we grab what we need to from Goron. So we are heading back into the village, and then we will go take on the race. Also, I just kind of want to delay the inevitable, cause, yeah, there is a certain reason why I'm not exactly hyped about the next area we're going to. Nah, I wouldn't really say it's my least favorite dungeon in the game. I mean, Woodfall is pretty basic, and I really do like a lot of the complexities that Snowhead features. I think it's a pretty good step up in terms of difficulty. Alright, before the dawn of the new day begins, I want to talk to you.
I'm the Goron who says powder cakes, most famous product of the Gorons. But the rules say I can't sell powder cakes to anyone who isn't a Goron. Sorry.
Right, sorry, forgot to put on my face.
Looks like you managed to succeed. Knowing your skills, I feel fine letting you handle powder kegs on your own. It was bad of me to put you through such a dangerous test. I want you to take this as my apology.
And with that, we got ourselves a powder keg of our own. Press C to light it, then tap C to place it. Be careful, its sheer power and size are immense.
Powder kegs are very volatile, so you can carry only one at a time. If you shoot them with an arrow, they'll explode as soon as they're hit, so be careful.
And with that, we now have the ability to buy powder kegs whenever we want. They're now permanently added to our inventory. And, yep, we'll be able to make use of these quite a bit later in our adventure. But for the time being, we're gonna want to just wait out the timer here until the next day. Oh, yeah, that's unfortunate. Aw, man, it's been a long time since I've seen his Majora's Mask review. Should be really fun to check that out again. So now we're on the second day of helping out the Gorons here on Snowhead. And most importantly, now that it's the dawn of a new day, we can finally go pick up our sword! Oh, I've been so excited for this. Let us go and grab it. Whee! Delaying the race as much as I can because I don't want to go in there yet. But yep, we can head on over back to the mountain village. And, wow, the moon is looking really big right now. I mean, it is the second day. Let us go right in. I kept you waiting, but it's done. See? And with that, your Kokiri sword's been strengthened and forged into a razor sword. This new sharper blade is a cut above the rest. Use it up to 100 times without dulling its superior edge. Now, keep in mind that after you've used this 100 times, the blade will lose its edge and will return to its original sharpness. Now, here's a secret. If you bring me gold dust before the sword loses its edge, I'll be able to make it the strongest sword around. You got that? Gold dust.
Ugo! Ugo! Ugo!
So yep, now we got ourselves the razor sword. I really do like the look of this thing. It's a really cool sword upgrade. And yeah, this thing is basically going to do more damage than our regular Kokiri sword. However, as Zubora was warning us, we only have a limited amount of uses for this thing. So we are going to want to avoid using our sword as much as possible until we manage to complete a certain side quest here. And to do that, we're going to want to head to the Goron racetrack. Yeah, no sense delaying the inevitable here. If we want to get our sword fully upgraded, we gotta win the race. Alright, let's do this. Hey, kid.
Darmani, I've been waiting for you. See, everyone's restless because they can't wait to enter. You're gonna enter, aren't you?
Yep.
You have to. I want to show everyone how Darmani races. If your magic power runs low, charge it up with the green jars on the course.
Alright. This is gonna be interesting. The Goron race. This is a very interesting but also quite difficult challenge to do here. We're going to be competing against a bunch of Gorons. Make sure that you have plenty of magic so that you can go through this area as fast as you can. Ram into the green pots as much as you can, and be careful around the other Gorons. You can hit them in order to knock them aside, but they can also knock into you. And that can be quite nasty if they just knock you away. So you gotta be really careful here. Try to... Oh man, this is really bad. We're already falling behind so badly. But yeah, try to make the most of your abilities here. Let's try to shoot across here and try to get as... Try to cut as short a path as you can through the racetrack. Otherwise, the other Gorons will get ahead of you, and then you can completely lose out. We're so close at the end here. Just gotta push on forward. Go, come on, we're almost there, almost there. Yes! First try! Oh my god, that's so good.
That was great. I knew you were the fastest Goron, Darmy. I was sure you'd get first place. This is from Daddy. It's the prize.
So by winning that race, we get a bottle of gold dust. This is the finest quality available.
I want to be just like you. Quick!
Kid, as long as you try your best, you're sure to be as great of a hero as Darmani. Oh man, I am so happy we're able to do that our first try. As we messed up around the middle section of that course, but oh man, we're able to do that. So yeah, not only did we manage to get the gold dust, but we also finally got a second bottle. Oh, I'm so happy that we got this. So the gold dust we get here at the Goron racetrack, you can use it to upgrade your sword, and you can also sell it at the Curiosity Shop back in Clocktown for an easy 200 rupees. It'd be quite nice if you want to grind up rupees for a certain thing we'll eventually need to grab later. But yeah, as you can obviously tell from my tone of voice, we're going to want to get our sword upgraded ASAP. Let's go talk to the blacksmiths. Oh, a customer. Gabora, fetch your customer some coffee, quick-like. Now then, let me take a look at your sword. Hey, now that's a mean joke. Your sword's already been reforged into a razor sword. Unless, do you want me to make your sword stronger? To do that, I'll need gold dust. Do you have any? Check it. Why, if it isn't gold dust, and it's even top quality, why, even if I use it to reforge your sword, there'll still be some left. All right, just for you, I'll do this for free, but don't tell anyone. Thanks for dropping in. Now then, I'm straight off to work. Come back tomorrow morning. So like he said, we gotta wait until the next day to get our reforged sword. So until then, we are also going to be unable to use our sword for the time being. However, looking at the things we managed to get done so far, I have a feeling that we should be good just to skip over to the final day here. There's pretty much nothing else I wanted to do in this portion of the 3-day schedule, so let's go ahead and play the Song of Double Time. Just gonna move on forward to the final day so we can pick up our improved sword. This is why I recommended dropping the sword off with these guys before you do Snowhead Temple, so that you have an easy way of being able to just acquire all the things you need to do this. Especially because if you want to get the sword reforged, then you're going to want to grab the gold dust, and doing that requires needing to beat Goat again. So, if you manage to take care of the sword upgrading process, while also dealing with Snowhead Temple, you're able to knock these out back to back. Now that it is the final day of this cycle, let's stop in with Zubora.
I kept you waiting, but it's done, see?
Your Razor Sword has been strengthened. Now it's a Gilded Sword. Newly forged, your sword is better than ever and will never break.
There it is. We can't make a sword stronger than that. No matter how many times you use it, it'll never lose its edge. Try it. Oh, I used up most of the gold dust. Just a tiny bit was left, so I got rid of it for you.
Ugo! 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 Ugo!
So thanks to Zubora and Gabora here, our sword is now improved. The Gilded Sword has longer reach than our old Kokiri sword, and it's now twice as powerful. And unlike the Razor Sword, it will never dull. So our sword is permanently upgraded to as strong as it can get. Quite the nice reward at the end of everything we have done here in this session. Managing to free the Gorons of Snowhead from an icy fate. We're able to preserve Darmani's legacy by becoming the hero that he desperately sought to be. And most importantly, we now have the ability to buy powder kegs, which are going to be instrumental if we're going to continue our journey here. So yeah, I feel like now is a good time for us to call this session here after everything we managed to do in this session. And yeah, we're not going to be able to move forward in our adventure until we reset the cycle back to the first day. So yeah, this is a good stopping point as any. So thank you for joining me in this leg of our Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask playthrough. Next time, we are going to see what else we can find in the land of Termina after managing to free Snowhead from Goat. Until next time, have a good day, and take care, everyone.